Hi, I'm Frank from Flex Leads, and in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Nitropack plugin for WordPress. What this plugin is supposed to do is make your website pages load more quickly by optimizing the code and the images on your site, and it also delivers your web pages through what is supposed to be a fast CDN, which is Content Delivery Network. Nitropack also helps you to be compliant, or at least get close to compliance, with Core Web Vitals. As of May 2021, Core Web Vitals are a search engine ranking factor for Google, and I'll talk more about those in just a moment. But the goal of Nitropack is to improve your page speed and to potentially help you rank a little bit better in the search engines. So this can provide you an improved user experience when pages load more quickly, and it could potentially bring more visitors to your website if you rank better in the search engines. This can result in more conversions on your website, so more leads, more newsletter signups, more sales. It could be a real boon to your website. I'm going to take a look at it in just a moment. First, I want to talk a little bit about Core Web Vitals. Okay, I'm now on Google's page, which discusses Core Web Vitals. I'm going to do my best to explain this as I understand it, but as with much of Google's documentation, they seem to take very complex concepts and make them even more complex and hard to understand. But these are the criteria that you really need to meet to be compliant with Core Web Vitals guidelines. We've got the LCP, which is the largest contentful paint. You want that to be under 2.5 seconds. And what that is, the amount of time it takes to load the largest element in the viewport for your website. The next is the first input delay, and that has to do with when a user interacts with your website, how long does it take for the browser to actually do something about that interaction. So first input delay. And then cumulative layout shift. This one definitely, we've all experienced this. You're on a website, especially on mobile, and you go to click on a link only to figure out that the website hasn't fully loaded, and you click on a link that you didn't mean to click on and you're brought somewhere else. So that's a really poor user experience. So Core Web Vitals, all of these are meant to provide a better user experience. And once again, these are used as part of search engine ranking factors as of May 2021. Okay, so moving on from Core Web Vitals, let's take a look at the site that we're going to be trying to optimize. This is one of my websites that I use for lead generation. It's dentalmarketingclass.com. It's a pretty large homepage. We're going to be analyzing the homepage to check to see how its performance does before and after applying Nitropack. So what I did to establish a baseline, I used 2 websites and 2 Chrome extensions. First, we'll talk about the websites. This is GTmetrix, and I ran Dental Marketing Class through GTmetrix. What I'm really concerned about here with GTmetrix is they also do Core Web Vitals, but I'm not going to get into that right now. We're looking at the 7.5 second load time. So we're looking to improve that. It'd be nice if the grade and the performance and structure improved a little bit too. We'll have to take a look. Also, the Pingdom website speed test we took a look at. When you run this test, you always want to run it from the same location before and after. I chose San Francisco. You can see my performance grade was a D. I'm not overly concerned about performance grade, but Google might be concerned about that since some of that probably factors into Core Web Vitals. Load time of 2 seconds, which in general is pretty decent. Any page that loads in around 2 seconds or less is good. Now let's talk about the extensions that I'm using. I'll go back to dentalmarketingclass.com. This right here is a Core Web Vitals extension, and I click on it, and you can see I'm good for the LCP and FID, but my cumulative layout shift needs some work at 0.249. The other thing we're going to take a look at is the Lighthouse report. This is put out by Google, and the performance not so good. Hopefully that improves after we take a look at Nitropack. First contentful paint is a little high, and then cumulative layout shift could use some improvement as well. So now we've established a baseline which measures our speed and our Core Web Vitals. So now we're going to take a look at Nitropack and see how we can improve upon this baseline. Okay, so I'm in the back end of the Nitropack website. I've already set up an account, and I'm going to add my website from the dashboard. And let's see here. And I'm going to choose free subscription and proceed. So this lets us know that we don't have any optimized pages yet. We're going to come back to this dashboard in just a minute. But now I have already installed the plugin on my website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to Nitropack right here. And I select Dental Marketing class. And one thing you'll notice right away after you install the plugin, it lets me know that I'm hosted on WP Engine, which is my web host for all my sites. It's a great web host. And it says follow these instructions in order to make sure that everything works correctly. Nitropack, you may see this message based on your web host. You may also see this message if you're using a CDN like Cloudflare, which I use for many websites. And following these instructions for WP Engine, it's actually really cool. It just lets you know that for URL tagging and post scheduling to work, you're going to need to get in touch with WP Engine support, and they even give you the message to send to support. So it's pretty cool. And if you don't do this, it can hurt your marketing campaigns because your URL tagging won't work properly and your post scheduling may not work properly either. I'm guessing the post scheduling may not work because of caching issues. So just follow those instructions. It's pretty quick. With WP Engine, they had me set up within less than a minute. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the dashboard for Nitropack. And as you can see, optimized pages here, it can take a long time for this plugin to optimize all of your pages. I mean, it could take hours. But you can see right now it's up to 23 pages. I've been letting this run for a little bit, and it's processing other pages in the background. Also in this optimized pages section, you have the option to purge cache, and then there's also a button, I think, to invalidate the cache located here. And what that will do is, like, if you're making website changes and you need those changes to be reflected immediately, that's why you could purge the cache, so that the most current version, like if you're doing something in development and you need to push it out into production, that's what you do. You purge the cache. Here's plan information. Optimization mode, this is an interesting one because they recommend strong when you're starting out. It's a good balance, they say, between speed and functionality. If you go to ludicrous, it's a little bit more of a chance that your website could break. So you want to be careful with the ludicrous setting. And just to note, I've done this a few times and the default is always ludicrous, even though strong is what is recommended. I would start with strong and then see if your metrics improve. If you need more performance, especially to be compliant with Core Web Vitals, then maybe move it up to ludicrous. Settings, cache warm-up. What this is it means that your pages will be loaded into the cache regardless of whether or not anyone has found that page organically. So this just means that a fast page is always ready to be served to the user. HTML compression, just to make HTML a little tighter, load faster. And then automated behavior, you can see I chose, these are off by default, but I enabled both. Automated behavior, purge the affected cache when content is updated or published. So if you have a new version, it will get rid of the old version from the cache. And then you can actually select in WordPress what page or post types get optimized in case you didn't want to optimize by category or tag, whatever. So that's the back end. Then let me also show you the back to the Nitropack website right here. You can take a look. I mean, originally, this was when the website was connected. You can download the plugin here from Browse Downloads. There's a WordPress connector. Here we have an API. If you're not using WordPress, if you're using another web development platform, you can also use Nitropack through an API. But if you're using WordPress, you can just browse downloads and you can see it'll give you the option to download the Nitropack for WordPress plugin. And here are the other options for connectors. This is interesting because this shows the pages. Again, this is for dental marketing class that have already been optimized. So you can see as pages are optimized, they will appear here. Okay, so that's just like a look at the back end. The key thing to point out here is that it's just really easy to set this up and get it going. But now what we need to do is take a look at the metrics. All right, so now what we're gonna do is take a look at the results, and the results are pretty amazing, actually. So this was our original, these are our original kind of baseline from GT metrics. You can see we had a grade of B, performance of 80%, structure of 90%, and 7.5 seconds fully loaded time. Now let's take a look at the results after we applied Nitropack. Grade of A, performance 94%, structure 99%, and this is what's pretty amazing, is the fully loaded time of 2.1 seconds versus 7.5 seconds, which is just a remarkable reduction in fully loaded time. So GT Metrics seems to really like the changes we've made. If we go to Pingdom, the page speed test, we had a performance grade of a D, 2.07 seconds load time. That is now improved to a performance grade of A, and we shaved off a little more than a quarter of a second load time. Every little bit helps. Lighthouse, this is Google's official Chrome extension. Performance was a 15 before, and now it's a 76, so that's a nice improvement. And we could see two of the core web vital factors here. Cumulative layout shift to 0.177 that needed improvement, and it's been improved tremendously to 0.01. First, contentful paint, no idea how to pronounce that properly, went from 6.4 seconds, which was not within Google's recommended guidelines, to 1.3 seconds. So excellent performance so far. Next thing we look at is the extension, the Core Web Vitals extension. It was at red, if you remember before, the cumulative layout shift was 0.254. That has since moved to green at 0.062. So what Nitropack has done is it has improved our page load time and it has improved our Core Web Vitals. I'm using the free plan for this test, which is supposed to put a kind of a little bit of a banner for Nitropack in the footer. I'm not seeing it there yet. I imagine it'll get there eventually. So that's with the free plan, but it still makes things so much faster, and I highly recommend you check this out for your websites to make them faster and to perhaps help you with search engine rankings.